Hey everybody, how you doing? So in today's lesson, we're going to be creating a tiny piece of art, ATC sized, using Happy Mail. Now for those of you that don't know what Happy Mail is, if you participate in swaps or random act of kindness type of events, it's where you receive goodies from somebody that's really unexpected. And in today's lesson, I received some Happy Mail from my friend Kathleen, who's part of my Facebook group. I'm going to be using only her elements that she sent me to create a piece of art, but I'm adding in a couple of extra pieces because it really will add a little something extra because I have something in mind what I want to create. So we go onto the table. Oh, by the way, thank you, Kathleen. If we go onto the table, so what she sent me, I'm going to take this away, was some Coroplast. If you don't know what Coroplast is, think of corrugated cardboard, but in plastic form. So she sent me that, and then a bunch of napkins, and I'll show you. She sent me a whole whack load of stuff, which is really, really nice. And some buttons and little extra goodies. And what I wanted to do, I was inspired by a DecoArt stencil, which had some beautiful flowing flowers on it, and I wanted to create something like that. So what I'm looking about doing is creating a center here and then having, you know, lines coming out here, then buttons being all over the place, but I want to put a backdrop of some text and using the napkin. So I picked up this little bag of buttons at the dollar store, and I brought out a whole bunch of little ones, and I'm looking at this one for the middle. And I grabbed some dictionary paper. So I'm going to put that there. So let me just tear this. And for you book lovers out there, I'm sorry that I'm tearing up book paper. Better that I use the actual dictionary in art because it was destined for landfill. So I'm just going to size the napkin. And I'm looking, oh, let's see. I'm thinking I want to put, I really only want the greenery. I get confused about doing this because I just look and look and look and look and look. So I'm looking right about here. Isn't that beautiful? I love that. All right, so what I'm going to be using is the DecoArt media line for this, with the exception of one product. So I'm going to be using gesso to prime the Coroplast, matte medium to actually glue everything down, and then I'm going to use the fluid acrylics, titanium white, enhance the yellow light, which will brighten up the color. And then in the corner, when everything's done, before I glue the buttons down, I'm going to use DecoArt Americana Premium Medium, the heavy gel gloss. They do have a product with that for the media line. It's not available yet. So, and to glue the buttons down, whoops, I guess I should have gotten that. I'm going to be using E6000. I did do some priming already, but I'm going to show you anyways. So with some gesso, and brushes don't really matter for this, it's just whatever you have handy. Using a little shader brush here. And the gesso, all it's going to do is help things stick to the plastic. And what you want to do with this is prime your pieces in batches ahead of time so you're not stuck waiting for stuff to dry. And because we're using, and see, I'm going in angles and different directions. Hopefully I wasn't off camera. And that's creating some texture which will help stuff stick to it. And when doing this, remember, if you're working on plastic and you are going to use a heat gun, you know what heat does to plastic, right? So just be careful when doing that. And create a little bit more texture up here, especially on the edges. This won't take very long to dry. Our heat wave is finally over, thank goodness. I actually had a sweater on this morning. Went from extreme heat yesterday to, and in the span of a half an hour, the temperature dropped by 10 degrees. It's quite something. So I'm going to let this dry. And when we come back, this is where things go really fast. Collage the dictionary paper, then collage this on top. So we'll be able to see some of the text. Then with the yellow on top to brighten up, it'll darken it a little bit. It'll darken it a bit. The white to paint the lines, and then glue the buttons on, and that's it. So taking out the drying time of the gesso, if everything was already prepared, you're looking at about 10 minutes to create this project. All right, so I'll see you in a few. So it's time to collage the paper on there. So I'm going to start with the matte medium. You can also use the decoupage medium. And if you don't have any medium, when you put your gesso on and you let it dry, put another layer of gesso on and then put the paper to that. You can use gesso as the glue as well. Try to use what you have. Yeah, I'm just going to put a little bit of the medium on here. The medium is handy. That's probably something you should have in your arsenal, either that or the decoupage medium. So you can use that as glue. And I'm going to leave the ends like this, and I'm going to trim them at the end. All right. So while I'm here, hence a yellow light, which is transparent. I'm going to pop that right on there. A little bit more matte medium. Yeah, and I made a sort of a verbal typo before. I said I was going to put this on top of the napkin. No, this was going on top of the dictionary paper. A verbal typo. Now, as I'm doing this, I can see some air bubbles, so I'm going to use the edge of the brush handle, just to push some of those air bubbles out. I was kind of hoping I was going to rip the paper. There you go. You can see some of the lines from where the paper was bubbling. And that's going to happen. This paper will curl, and you can use your fingers. I don't like using my fingers to do stuff like this, because depending on if you've got cream on your hands, you'll actually put in some extra stuff into the art, which may not be desirable. All right, so I'm going to quickly dry this. It won't take long. And I can even, you know what? I can even just do it like that, where some of this is showing through. It really doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. More matte medium. When you're working with napkins that are very delicate, you run the risk of ripping the piece. So DecoArt has an actual collage medium, the decoupage medium, just for napkins. And because I just swapped my studio with another room, there's a lot of stuff still in boxes. So I'm going to try with this medium and see, and I'm just going to take this, put it right on top. And push down instead of going side to side. What I could have done too was wet the napkin a little bit to relax the paper. I learned that from Mark Montano. Thank you, Mark. I put a little bit more matte medium on it, being very careful. And when I'm doing this, the paper's kind of crinkling up. It's got to do with science and moisture into the paper and all the molecules getting all jumbled up and stuff like that. And just make sure that that's right onto the bottom. You can also take the paper and just wrap it right around if you wanted to do that. So that we have to let dry. I'm going to see if I can cut this. Now this is actually large palette paper. What I should have done was work on a cutting mat. I'm such a goof. I should have worked on a cutting mat. Oh well. I can't believe I just did this. You know what's even stupider? I'm continuing to do it. Stupider. Oh, Mia's groaning in the other room. Whoops, that part's not quite dry. Oh, this isn't dry at all. There we go. Oh, I ripped a little bit off the top here. That's okay. Do that, and then I'm going to put the, ideally I was thinking of doing it here, but now I could use the opportunity just to cover up that piece that's missing. And then with all these little buttons here, these will be almost like little pieces of the flower. They'll all be offset, but then there'll be little lines coming out. So this will be an opposite type. My palette paper, actually this is palette paper as well, so I can just use this. I prefer using my gray palette paper. Actually, I'm going to do that because you won't be able to see white on this. You won't be able to see white. A little script brush. script brush has a massively long bristles. I have trouble using this brush because of the control. So I'm going to start here and just going to go out and lift up. And you're just going to create some of these lines. Hopefully, oh, you probably can't even see what I'm doing. Oh, see what I did? Oh my God. Okay, so let's see how I can, like that. You want to put a few. Make sure they're all different lengths. And let's make one more long one. Just like that. It's nothing fancy. And I'm going to dry that with the heat gun just for a sec. And the drying with the heat gun is very quick because I've got 2 layers of paper on there. I'm going to try the gloss, the heavy gel medium. Oh goodness, that's the Americana Premium. Now you can also use liquid glass from the media line. You can use just a gloss varnish if you want. You can use the decoupage gloss finish. That's fine. You can use the outdoor finish. I'm looking at all my varnishes. Triple thick would be really nice too. And it's just to create a, not varnishing the whole thing, just parts of the back of the flower. Could also use this as glue as well. Actually, that's actually a really good idea. Let's see. And I'm just going to bring that out, all uneven parts in the direction of the flower. All right, so let's put the button there. Now, if you're giving this as an actual ATC, try to make sure if you can that it's within the confines of the card. Some people like to take the cards and put them in sleeves. So I'll start with some of the buttons. And you want to make sure these are all offset. And where the actual gloss is, I'll just pop that. I'll pop that on there. Then I'll use E6000 on the dry areas. Like I said, this is a really fast little project. There's absolutely nothing you have to buy to make that. Is that button upside down? No. There's absolutely nothing you have to buy to make this. So when you're using the gloss medium, what's really good is that you can work with, it takes a bit to dry, so you can offset everything. This one's translucent here. And then I can use the E6000. Where's my Q-tips? And my scissors. I used to have bamboo sticks for that. E6000 is a bit smelly, so I make sure that when I'm doing this that the animals are not in the studio. And you want to wait for the gloss medium to dry. So we'll see what this looks like. I'm thinking this is probably about half an hour to dry. So when we come back, we'll take a look at what we've got and you can make adjustments from there. But let's just see what we have first before deciding to change things up. Okay, so it took, because it's so cold, I think it took about 6 hours for this to dry. And I'm looking at it, it's not 100%, but you'll have a really good idea of to what it looks like. And look at the black paint on my nail. There we go. They're cute. Just adds a little bit of something extra. So I also created another one going a different way, and it was created using same technique but just different button, and I didn't put any of the medium, so just a different way of doing it. So I love doing these little experiments. So I hope that you enjoyed this. So I'm going to challenge you. So this is a challenge. Outside the drying time, like I said, outside the drying time, 10 minutes. Less than 10 minutes to create this. So I would like you to find something really unusual, something that can be cut with scissors, but something unusual that you've never created art on before. If it's a piece of wood, then you may have to saw it, but So find something unusual. It doesn't have to be an ATC, even if it's a stone or something oddly shaped, but relatively small, okay? So you don't spend a lot of time on it. From there, gesso it. Collage some type of text paper, whether it's newspaper, magazine, it doesn't matter. Find a napkin. Most of you probably have napkins. You don't have napkins, Kleenex or tissue, you know, for your nose. Tissue. So collage something on there. Take some buttons. You guys probably have buttons. So just say, create something like this on a surface you've never used before, and I would love to see a picture. So to share the picture, you can go to artplace.ca and you'll be able to see the actual blog post for this project, and then you can upload a picture there. If you're a member of the private Facebook group, you can post a picture there, and either way, I would love to see your pictures just as a challenge, okay? So it's a challenge. I'm challenging you to see if you can do this, because I know you can, and I don't want to hear, I don't have time. If you're sitting here on YouTube, you have time, right? So please, I would love to see your pictures, and give me a thumbs up if you found this entertaining, mistakes and all. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. That way you don't miss anything. If you have notifications off, you're more than welcome to join my email list. I have a video announcement email list, and you have an option of being notified of my videos either daily or weekly. That way you're guaranteed not to miss anything, and I send that out by email. Let's see, what else? I know I forgot something. Oh yeah, so comment below what you thought as well. It's this type of feedback that really gives me an idea as to the type of videos to create for you guys. All right, I'm so cold. We've got chicken on the barbecue. It's on the rotisserie. I'm freezing. Heat wave is over, so I think I'm gonna go put some pants on. I'm wearing capris. I'm not naked below here. I'm just gonna put some jeans on. Oh, it's been a long day. I will see you guys in the next video. Until then, stay inspired.